Do you ever feel like you just got a raw deal in life? Do you ever feel like you see other people having a great time, having fun, people who are attractive and people who are good at getting other people to be attracted to them? They're having fun and you're sitting there pulled away from the crowd, looking on, almost like through this kind of glass wall that you can't get through. You're not a part of the cool kids. You're not a part of that blessed circle. And you see people dating, you see people out socializing, having a great time with each other, and you say, why can't I be a part of that? That was my life about 20 years ago, and it was probably the most frustrating thing that I've ever had to experience in my life. That's why I've been so passionate about teaching about dating, social dynamics, and attraction for many years now. This was the most painful thing that I ever had to experience in my life. I've had many painful things, and this was by far the most frustrating. And beyond that, it was also the most rewarding thing that I've ever experienced. What I want to do right now is go into a video where I'm going to discuss with you the things that I gained in my overall life by studying how to be more attractive. And the reason why I think this is so powerful is that my journey in learning about attraction was the most powerful thing I've ever done in my life, because ultimately it called upon me to transform internally. It called upon me to transform the way that I project myself into the world. And also, it called upon me to understand the way the world really works, at least as best as I'm able to understand it without rose-colored glasses on. That being the case, what my journey in learning how to be more attractive meant to me was really seeing the world, merging into it, changing the core, and learning how to emanate and interact with the world in a way that is 1,000 times more powerful, and in many ways 1,000 times more challenging than anything that I ever imagined when I started this journey. So, what we're gonna do right now is lock in and get ready to learn the things about becoming more attractive that are gonna change your life in every aspect and really change your experience of this short time that you have on Earth in the most profound way. And by the way, what I'm saying here is the hidden world of what people who struggle with social skills are dealing with that nobody in mainstream society wants to acknowledge. Instead of helping people in this, they want to shame them, tell them how bad they are, and basically throw them out like human trash. Well, you know what? One man's trash is another man's treasure. Because as I began to make progress in this, what I realized was, just because you don't have social skills or can't meet somebody doesn't mean you're trash. It just means that you don't have certain skills, and if you could learn those skills, you could fix the problem. And here's what's really cool. Once you fix the problem, it actually creates massive momentum. And as you create massive momentum, you start believing you could do anything. I'm sitting here, I'm 39 years old, and I'm having the chance to reflect on me being back 22, borderline autistic, and really having no ability to connect to the outside world. So one of the first lessons that I had to build from learning to be successful socially was courage. And what I mean by that is I would walk into, say, a bar or a club, and I would want to go talk to people. And I felt so separated from that environment. And one of the biggest things that we fear in socializing is social rejection. It's a huge thing. Some people even say that when we get rejected, what winds up happening is we feel enough cortisol. It's like you're being punched in the face. So in order to get better socially, and it's funny, I don't know if you can hear the police sirens here, but it kind of reminds me of the feeling trying to get better socially when you're new at it. You've got to have a lot of courage, and you've got to be willing to basically jump in the cold end of the pool. And you've got to be willing to jump in the cold end of the pool again and again and again in order to get the social experience to where you can actually learn something from it. Because the basic method that I used was I threw myself into social situations for decades. And every single social situation that I threw myself into, much like a video game where I didn't really understand what to do, I went into different social situations completely blind. That meant that if I saw somebody dancing, I didn't understand what dancing was. I understood what they're doing, but I don't understand why they do it. I didn't understand the emotions behind it. If I'd see people laughing or singing, to me that seems strange. Sarcasm especially for me was really weird. Why are people being sarcastic? Why don't you just talk about logical things? And what's all this kind of energy that they're throwing around? I didn't get it, and it really just drove me nuts. So I'm going into these environments not knowing when is the right amount of time to talk. Well, I don't know if I figured that one out yet, but you know, I don't know what is appropriate. I don't know what kind of things people want to talk about. I don't understand what the proper body language is, the right eye contact. I don't know why some people are cool and some people are not. And ultimately, I don't know how to not get rejected, or if somebody were to reject me, be like, oh, get out of here, or you're a loser, you're not attractive, in the various kind of vulgar ways they might say that, for me that was very painful, because I already was kind of stuffing down so many different insecurities about whether or not I'm attractive. I mean, it was driving me crazy. So to have people actually take that and kind of, you know, push on that painful wound that's already right there, you're not good enough, you're not attractive, and to basically throw yourself in that cold pool again and again and again, and do it every day for several hours for many years, there was a courage that was built through that, that really what I think I got from it, and what I want you to get from it if you're gonna work on your social skills, and if you experience that, is basically being okay with just not feeling good, or being okay with going into situations where you might not know what's gonna happen. You just can't predict the outcome. You don't understand all the different factors. And basically what you've gotta get okay with is throwing yourself in situations that scare you, not knowing what's gonna happen, and then from there, getting little lessons about it. Because you still gotta stay present enough, you still gotta stay alert enough, not just hide yourself. You can't just go into it like, oh, you know, right, and then just run out. This isn't like that. Even with jumping into a cold river, well, this river, I don't know if you'd survive that. I think there was an old Seinfeld episode when Kramer was swimming in the river in New York. But point being, if you were to just throw yourself in the water, you can even do it in that kind of way, like, and just jump in. But in this, you can't even do it like that. You've got to actually say somewhat normal, and then try to absorb the different lessons that you're getting. Then you've got to be in that situation where you're being rejected, in many cases, you don't understand what's happening, you're under stress, you're getting your insecurities stimulated, and you've got to come out of that and still assess it and try to think to yourself, what did I just learn? What did I just learn about socializing? What did I learn about myself there and the way that I'm coming across? What did I learn about other human beings and how they're receiving me? What did I learn about other people and what it is that they want? And how can I get closer here to socializing with them in a way that's some kind of win-win? Even if it's not perfect, I've got to figure out something here. And going even deeper, you've got to actually get past a lot of these social conditioned nonsense about what attraction is, because if you're going with that, then you have no explanation for it. You go in, somebody doesn't like you, and you say, I'm not tall enough, I'm not rich enough, I don't have the right jawline, or whatever it is. And so now what you're doing is you're sitting there confused between, is this because of the social conditioning reasons that I've heard? Could there be these other reasons? What am I supposed to make of this? All while being afraid. So in life, how can you apply that lesson to your general life? Like I was saying, first of all, it's just getting used to experiencing fear and doing something anyway. It's getting used to getting out of your comfort zone. It's understanding that the growth is outside of that little circle of safety. Real safety is getting outside of that comfort zone, because eventually you've got to grow or your life's going to get very bad. So you've got to get used to making your comfort zone, ironically, outside of the comfort zone. If this is a comfort zone, your comfort zone is out here. Then you've got to get used to staying present to any lessons that you're getting and learning how to assess them. Ultimately, though, what you've got to do is you've got to become secure enough with yourself that you can have certain negative feedback or not get the result that you want and still say to yourself, you know what, I love myself. I still have value. I'm still a half-decent person. And for that reason, even if I didn't get the exact win that I want or the exact outcome that I want, I still feel good about who I am, and I'm going to keep pressing forward.
I made a lot of mistakes in my mind, in my mind. You came to take us. All things go, all things go.
So like I mentioned, the first part of my journey was really about learning to build courage and to throw myself into situations that I didn't understand. But another part of my journey was actually a journey inside my mind, or inside my energy body, of what's going on within your inner temple. And what I believe is that to get great at dating, you've got to go on a very, very deep dive into your temple, and what you're going to excavate in that process is also going to help you in your everyday life to a massive extent. So what do I mean by that? Well, I'd say there's three main areas that you will excavate when you take that inner journey. The first one is your beliefs. The second one is how present to the moment you are, or how trapped in your head you are. And the third one is trauma energy that's running you. I would even maybe add a fourth one on there. I'd say it's learning where to allow your focus to be placed. I count that under presence, but I'll even go deeper on that too. So the first one, like I mentioned, is beliefs. And what that really comes down to is that in order to be successful in dating, in my experience at least, you've got to be good at believing in yourself. You've got to assume that you're an attractive person. Now, why do I say that? Well, when you walk up to somebody and you spark up a conversation, if you don't assume that you have value, if you think that you need to kind of sit there as a dancing clown to convey value, and you don't just assume it about yourself, what's going to happen? You're going to talk maybe a little bit off. You're going to make jokes where you go, or you're going to self-qualify. You're going to say, oh, look, I've got this cool thing going. I've got that cool thing going. And what this does, unfortunately, is it skews something that I like to call the buyer-seller dynamic. Now, to be very attractive, it's got to come across that you're that cool person and you're getting to know that the other person who you want to meet, but it's not a big deal to you. It's not a big deal. You've already got the value that you need and you're just kind of open-minded to meeting them, or maybe you're even excited about meeting them, but it's entertaining you. It's not to fill a void or to get something from them, and they really, really feel that. So at a fundamental level, you've got to believe that you've got the goods. You've got to have inner beliefs that say you're attractive, you have value, you love yourself. The world is a friendly place. You've got to come at the world expecting people to have familiarity with you and to assume rapport with you in a way that's very healthy and positive. You want to have a nice light energy when you go up. So you're not going up thinking somebody else is your competitor or enemy. You're coming up feeling like someone is your friend, that you're just expecting it to go well. You're assuming it's going to go great. And that really is an excavation which is going to require a journey into your mind, because so many of your beliefs are probably very competitive, very fear-based, very much coming from an inferior position, and that's manifesting in all sorts of really off behavior in your body language and self-qualifying and the things you choose to talk about. All of it's very, very weird. So how does that help you in day-to-day life? Well, what do you think is going to happen when you have those off beliefs in your work life? Maybe you're doing marketing, maybe you're presenting a product, maybe you're creating something, maybe you're trying to do some kind of deal with somebody. Think of how those inner beliefs are going to act like inner demons that completely destroy everything that it is that you're trying to do. In fixing that, because what's happening is that you're going from person to person, talking to them, trying to create chemistry or attraction, you're going to get very exposed. And when you're being exposed, it's going to force you to kind of dig into yourself and say, why is it I'm coming across like this? Maybe you get some help, maybe you get some coaching, or maybe you just honestly take a very hard look at yourself and you say, you know what, my beliefs are off. Very, very powerful. Something that helps you in dating, but also in your regular life. Now, like I said, it's also about learning to get present to the moment, because when you get present and you're out of your head, you've got a lot of bandwidth. You're able to be witty on the spot. You've just got jokes for days, things to talk about for days. The big challenge we get in people learning about dating and attraction and social skills, they say, well, what do I say? I've got nothing to say. Look, I get it. I used to feel the exact same way. I had no idea what to say. It drove me crazy. So one of the big things with trying to figure out what to say is getting present to the moment, because when you're present, when your awareness is out here, not retracted in here, trying to hide your ego, and anytime someone's nice, you're thinking different thoughts to sort of shield your ego and reestablish your sense of self, reestablish that you're okay. Instead of being stuck in here in protection mode, trying to reframe everything that happens and create some kind of story or narrative about your life about it, you're out here. You don't need a story. You're not focused on the past. They say that great quarterbacks in the NFL, National Football League, they've got a short memory. They can miss a throw, they forget about it, go on to the next one. Getting present allows you to think of what to say, but it also means that when something goes bad or you don't get the response you're hoping for, you can forget about it, get present to the moment, and move on. Well, as you can probably guess, how does that help you in day-to-day life? Helps you in things like public speaking, talking to anybody who you need to talk to. It also means that you're not going to be sitting there in pain at your failures. You're not afraid of failing. Maybe you take on some new professional endeavor. You're scared that if you fail, it's going to hurt. Instead, you say, you know what? I can stay present. I can stay with this. And if you can stay with it, you have confidence. And funny enough, that confidence builds your belief. It's a cycle. It's an upward spiral. Now, the last one that I mentioned also, as far as that inner journey, is trauma. And we all carry trauma from childhood, and it gives us this kind of off energy, an off-putting energy. It can make our energy very dense. And it means that when we walk up to somebody, first of all, if they're rude to us and we have a trauma surrounding approval, that could really mess us up, right? So you don't want to have that trauma surrounding not getting the approval you want, because now you're desperate for somebody to like you, and that is not a very powerful position. And also, that buyer-seller dynamic is getting to be a complete mess. So right off the bat, that trauma for approval, that's got to go out the door. You've got to cure that. You've got to release it. But also, there's a general energy of heaviness, of fixation, of tension, of jitteriness, of offness, where when you're carrying a lot of trauma energy, it's pretty difficult to just flow socially. It's pretty difficult to just kind of have fun and enjoy yourself. And that being the case, it's so critical that you get rid of trauma. And you're going to get exposed. Because when you go out, you're going to be around people that have really let go and they're having fun. And you're not going to be able to let go and have fun. You're going to wonder why. And what's going to happen is when you get exposed because of all that trauma, you're going to be forced to look at it and fix it. It's unbelievable how much you have to fix it. And that being the case, what I learned from going out was when I would have maybe a nervousness where I didn't believe in myself, I'd look at my beliefs. When I was maybe trapped in my head and I couldn't think of all the right things to say, my wits weren't about me, I wasn't funny, well, then I had to learn to be present. When I could see that I had sort of a heavier energy, a darker energy, I had to learn how to release trauma. And lastly, like I mentioned, sort of another one to throw on there, although it's related to all of them, is where your focus lies. And when I say where your focus lies, what I mean is, are you focused on the upside of something? When you see an opportunity to talk to somebody, are you like, wow, that could be fun? Or are you thinking of what could go wrong? Are you playing to win, or are you playing to not lose? And how is the momentum that you're building also fueling that? So my years of going out taught me so much about momentum and focusing on the win of all the cool things that could happen instead of thinking what could go wrong. And in doing so, it gave me crazy momentum and a lot of fluidness, looseness, a lot of sort of free emotions. All of it was great. And you can see how by learning this in dating and attraction and social skills, and by the way, every time you go out, you're being exposed, because when it doesn't go well, you've got to look at one of those categories and you've got to kind of chip away at it outside of socializing, kind of go within, take that inner journey. Well, in the outside world, in any endeavor you have, making a new product, how is being present to the moment and unleashing bandwidth going to allow you to build a product in your business life? It's massive. Believing in yourself, believing that if you take steps, it could produce a good result, believing that if you fail, you're going to be okay. These are things that in your health, wealth, relationship, or higher purpose, anything you want to do in life, any of your dreams that you have, think about them right now. Think about your dreams. These are skills that you're going to learn in dating, funny enough, that are going to help you in all those areas of your life. So like I said, that inner journey, which you wind up being forced to take, if you want to survive that crazy world of dating, that inner journey is what's going to change your life in so many different areas.
You had to find that all things go. I drove to New York.
Remember that each of these that we're going through is kind of like a foundation in your castle. So at the base level, you have to have the courage to get out there and experiment and learn. And if you don't have that courage, you're stuck. And likewise, you have to understand that the behavior that you have, the hard social skills that you have, are very much related to your interchange work. Now, most behaviors that you're going to put out there, things that make people think, wow, that person's cool, are basically things that show that inside yourself you're doing well. So you've got to work on yourself internally, because many of these behaviors are really telltale signs of all the great things you have happening inside yourself. So great eye contact, which is an outer behavior that you're going to change in this, that comes from changing what's inside yourself. Great eye contact doesn't come from you going, yeah, yeah. It comes from you getting used to having good energy inside of you and just resting there. And your eyes will just rest naturally when you're sitting there in good energy, when you assume your value, when you feel good about yourself. It's going to be very easy to hold a good eye contact. But if you don't feel good about yourself, you try to hide it with your behavior, well, now all of a sudden, you've got those kind of scary prison eyes. And that's not what you're looking for here, okay? You want to be intense and mysterious. You want to be soft, powerful, and grounded in your eye contact, but I don't think you want to be like, yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, maybe you do as a joke, but you get my point, right? Likewise with humor. Humor comes from feeling good and just having kind of a light view of life where you're seeing things in a way that are kind of pumping your mood. But humor in and of itself is a hard social skill. Likewise, you want to understand when is the right time to even have any kind of physical interaction. When is the appropriate time to do that? What is the right way to do that? That comes from having a respect for other people. And what that means is that when you respect other people, you also probably have a foundation of respecting yourself. Self-respect tends to equate to respect for other people, and respect for other people and knowing that you're a leader means that that physical contact that you're going to have is going to be appropriate and also attractive, because there's a right time to have touching occur, and that comes from being aware of what that other person's feeling. So there's a lot of different hard social skills about really just understanding how to present yourself, and those hard social skills to me are at an intersection because, again, hard social skills, behavioral change, on one side you have what's going on inside yourself, but on the other side you have understanding other people. Now look at these skills that you have to develop. So the things that you're doing, the things that you're saying, the humor that you're using, the eye contact, the body language, the shifts in your voice, all those hard skills, it's an intersection point of having what's going on inside being beautiful, but also understanding others. Now, by the way, look at that, and let's look at the stack there. In order to understand others, you need to get out of your own head. You need to get present to even have the bandwidth to be aware of what others are feeling. In order to be aware of what others are feeling, you have to respect yourself in order to respect others and even want to know what it is that they're feeling, because otherwise you just want something from them. You view them as an object, which is super creepy, and that creepiness manifests in you not feeling social cues. So you can see here how if you fail to have this, your social cues are going to be very low status, they're going to be very weird, they're going to be very off. And what happens that when you go out and you decide to interact with people is you're forced to go to them and interact. And you're going to see when maybe your body language is a little bit tense. You're going to see when your eye contact's a little off. You're going to see when your vocal tonality is, hey, how's it going with uptalk? I want approval because I don't feel good inside. You're going to see when your humor is, you're laughing at your own jokes in a way where you're desperate. Yeah, and then the wiggity wiggity, ha ha ha, right, ha ha. I'm cool, right, huh? Look at this cool thing I have, huh? Right, you see how the inner belief problems are manifesting, but also because you don't even have respect for other people or respect for yourself, you're not even aware of what other people are feeling. You're so trapped in your head trying to keep your ego going that you don't even have the bandwidth to know what other people would want from you or what is a win-win to them. So finding that win-win, really the behavior is the intersection between the inside and the outside, and going out, working on getting better at attracting people, getting better at dating, better at social skills, that's really the journey that's going to expose all that. Now, what's that going to mean in regular life? Well, you're probably seeing a pattern here. When you go out trying to get a promotion, get a job, network, meet people, when you're trying to do marketing, make a marketing campaign, make an impression, move people, use persuasion, any of these key critical life skills, they're going to require you to have this down. And that being the case, you can see how even just as far as we're going here, think about it for a minute. You made a decision to get better at dating, but it forced you to look at your courage, to learn how to solve problems, to go deep within yourself, to change your behavior, and of course, like I said, to be aware of how other people are feeling. That ability to understand how other people are feeling is going to change your marketing. It's going to change the fact of being able to find a way to connect with people, and also caring what other people are feeling is a loop because it makes you into a better person and increase your self-respect. All of these qualities, absolutely critical for life success, for your personal growth, for your self-development. And that being the case, you can see how, again, just by going out and working on social skills, all of these major areas are getting a huge upgrade in your basic everyday life.
It was for freedom from myself and from the land. I made a lot of mistakes. I made a lot of mistakes.
All right, so we're sitting here at Times Square, which is basically the epicenter of marketing and commerce. Not actually, but just by the way that it looks physically with all these billboards everywhere shooting all this light. And it's a really beautiful place to be. If you've never been to Times Square, you should definitely come here sometime. At the same time, it's kind of like a cheesy commercial place, so I have mixed feelings about it, but definitely something you've at least got to see. And really that brings back my mind to the importance, as far as your dating, of what I call meta-level awareness and how that's going to change your life. Now, that's a very simple thing. If you're going to be successful in dating, in attraction, and in social skills, like I've mentioned leading up until now, you have to get out of your head. I want this. It's my turn to talk. How do I look? What am I trying to get? I want to feel good. I want to touch this, or things like that. You've got to get out of that, and you've got to put yourself into the mindset of another person. That sounds a little bit heavy, and of course it sounds heavy because it's not the me show. It's not about me time, it's about them. But funny enough, if you're in a selfish mode, you can at least motivate yourself, because when you understand other people, your life's gonna be better too. Now, in dating and attracting, what does that mean? Well, if you go out and there's a bunch of people on the move, where are they trying to get to? Who are they with? Who's the alpha person of the group who's gonna call the shots? What kind of energy do they want? Where are they trying to get to? How can you add value to that? What kind of person are they trying to meet? What is an attractive person to them? What is their priority? And when you understand that, it's very, very easy to merge into what they're doing and offer some value in a way that makes sense by kind of dispensing your personality in a way that's appropriate and fun for them. It's good for them. They love it. And when you learn how to do this in dating, what you'll find is that people will start freaking out. They're like, I love you. You're the best, because you've come at them by offering value. Simple example, a lot of people walk up, they just start hammering with these weird questions. What's your name? What are you doing? It's so weird. It's so annoying. And what happens, people get sick of it. They get numb to it. They have what's called, look here, banner blindness. What I would ask you here in Times Square is this: how many of the banners All these beautiful banners did you even memorize that are here? Let me ask you this, did you get what's called banner blindness? Banner blindness, right? It's like in a website, there's some little banner commercial spot and you get blind to it. Why? You're blind to it because you're oversaturated with it. An attractive person in dating, they've got so many people coming up to them, they're bored of it. They've got banner blindness to it. How do you make yourself stand out? There's different energy that's going on around you, and what I've experienced personally is that as that energy is going on around you, are you going to merge into that and play with that energy and have fun, or are you disconnected from that energy, right? So whether it's marketing, making money, or simply even having fun, playing with that fun vibe, playing with that fun energy, this is gonna be really, really critical. Like I said, you've gotta do a several-year audit of what other people are feeling, but here's the most important part. Being empathetic or doing an audit of what other people are thinking is not about pandering to them. Nobody likes being pandered to, at least if that person wants to take it any further, particularly in dating. Nobody wants to date someone that panders them. So getting into somebody else's mind doesn't mean that you sit there thinking of ways to pander them. It's about showing that you're a great person who has that inner belief fixed, that outer behavior fixed, that social acuity fixed. You're a cool person with something to offer. And then when you present that along with cool things to go and do that are fun, that are low key, that are low pressure, that are light, you understand that when somebody goes out, they just want light, easy energy. It's not too heavy or crazy. They wouldn't want a deep conversation like this right off the bat, right? When you get that stuff, now you can have way more fun, you can meet people, you can make more money, you can market, you can do business, you can understand others, you can see energy, you can play with it. This is helping you in every aspect of your life.
All things grow, all things grow. We had our mindset. All things know, all things know. You had to find it.
The last thing that I want to talk about as far as how succeeding in dating is going to change your life so profoundly, and this may be the single most important one, although any of them could be arguably the most important change that you're going to make, is believing that everything is going to happen exactly as it should. Now, I know what you're thinking already. Why is that going to be the thing that's the most important? What about the thing you say? Or you have to have the perfect inner pyramid. And I get that too, but let me explain to you why this is so powerful and why it's going to change your life on such a deep level. Part of life is getting grounded to the experience in front of you, being present to it, and taking it in. Life, I want to ask you, how easily can it go by in a blur? Life can go by in a blur of one thing leading to the next, leading to the next, leading to the next, and having this frenetic, frantic energy to get to some better future, never enjoying what you have in front of you right now. What is one of the main keys to getting out of that paradigm? It's gratitude. It's belief that life is unfolding exactly as it should. How is this going to empower you? What it's going to do is it's going to give you the ability to see the lessons that are coming up as you're experiencing them and letting them land. And only then can you level up once you've got those lessons. So you've got to believe that what you're experiencing is exactly what you're supposed to be experiencing. Now, how does this happen in dating? It is the craziest thing. Anybody who's worked on their dating life, on their social skills, on being more attractive, can absolutely relate to this. What'll happen is you'll have a lot of losses. Maybe people won't like you. Maybe your dating life doesn't go how you wanted to. Maybe you want to have some wild, crazy experience one night, didn't pan out. While your friends are having them, maybe you're feeling jealous. Whatever it is. And this is going to really frustrate you and deplete you. And as you're having these lessons, it's going to force you to say, why is this happening? What am I missing here? What is the missing piece? And right at that time, when you'd think you can't take any more losses, and it couldn't get any worse, boom, you get a win. Maybe you meet somebody, goes so amazing, you have the best night of your life with them. Or you meet a new person who's going to help you to grow. Funny enough, too, oftentimes in breakups with someone who you really, really care about or love, that breakup is going to feel so painful. But again, just like in those negative experiences when learning about dating, even in a breakup, the breakup happens at exactly the right time. Right at that time where it would stifle your growth to continue. You don't like it and you have to let go and it hurts, but it's perfect. There's a great movie called Swingers where a guy has a breakup with his girlfriend and he wants her back so bad. And it's only when he's gone and met other people, and here's the key to everything. It's only when he has returned to abundance, he's gone back into abundance, that suddenly his ex-girlfriend just calls him up and says, hey, I want to talk. And Heather Graham is actually the new girl who he's just met, and he wants to talk to her now. And of course, if you had met Heather Graham, 15 years ago, 20 years ago, I'm pretty sure that you wouldn't really care about your ex calling you back, right? And right at that moment, it's eerie how this will happen. Right at that moment, when you've returned into abundance, all those things that you wish you had, boom, they're magnetically attracted back to you. It is so crazy. So it's that belief that everything will happen exactly as it should that you're forced into. And it's something that will manifest both as far as people's responses to you. As soon as you go into scarcity, they leave. When you go into abundance, they become attracted. But also, it's in your general experience of just enjoying life. What it means that when you're building a business, working on your personal skills, working on your health, your higher purpose, enjoying life, your life's mission, your greater plans of what you're gonna do. What winds up happening is that rather than missing these lessons coming at you, you're seeing them, you're letting them land, you're taking the feedback. And because you know that your life is a flow, there's a flowing quality to it, you're able to actually enjoy it and break out of that weird loop that most people are in, where life is just one thing to the next, waiting to be happy. All be happy when. Well, you know that that sadness is part of an overall rhythm of life, but also the happiness isn't gonna last, and there's something deeper that's rooted within you. When you're connected to your higher power and you realize that life is here for your education, that is one of the most powerful things that you'll do in dating. It will change the way you communicate with people. It will change the way that you would come across even to anybody socially, but also it's just gonna change the way that you experience really your entire life. So that being the case, we've been through a little bit of a journey here through New York City. I hope you enjoyed it. It was fun for me to be up all night just kind of knocking this out before I go to bed. My last night here after a beautiful seminar that we've been doing all weekend. I had such a great time. And I hope that what I've done is motivated you and inspired you to work on your social skills, to work on your dating, to work on becoming more attractive, but also to realize that getting a different partner or having a crazy dating life or whatever that is, that's really just the tip of the iceberg. It is a metaphor for a larger aspect of your existence. People will come and go out of your life. Temporary sensual stimulations will come and go out of your life. These things are gonna come and go. Really what's gonna be important to you is what you gain from the journey itself. So that being the case, I'm gonna go crash out now after, I guess this is my 5th day of speaking in a row. It's been awesome. And I hope that you've just got something that you can take forward with you as a lesson, really planting a seed here. And it's gonna really kind of open your eyes to all sorts of different skills that you wanna learn, but also give you a context of what it means to go through this journey itself. So, good night, Godspeed. I'll be back with more. Peace.